Functions, right? So you heard this term functions in programming languages, not only in Python, in many programming languages. Basically, functions are a block of code like this. So you can see here, define my function, and I'm calling that function with the name my function. So this is a basically function and how we call this. If you don't know, if you're not aware of these basic terms about functions, please watch video about the previous video that I have done to know more about functions. Okay. Now today we will discuss more about in detail about functions. So we'll write some functions today also. So yeah, so let's get into this. So the one thing you have to remember is do not repeat yourself. Basically, functions allow you to reuse the code, and it will make your code far better than writing the code again and again. So today we will discuss about the types of the functions. So there are types like functions with arguments and functions with return values, right? So we can write functions in a many ways. So, and also in the previous video I was saying about inbuilt functions and user defined functions. So basically inbuilt functions are the functions that we create, and the functions that are already exist, they are called as inbuilt functions. User defined functions are the functions that once we create. Okay, so this is the some difference you should aware. Nobody asks you this, but you have to understand to become a better programmer. Okay, now let's see some of the functions with the arguments and parameters, and also with the return keyword. Okay, first, to create a function we need to know diff, that is a keyword, and I need to have a function name. Let's take function 1. Okay, and we'll have a colon, and inside this we will write some code. Okay, so let's take some print 20. Okay, so this is the some code I am using. Now for today we will talk about the functions with parameters and how to use the return keyword, and why we need to use return in the functions instead of using a print statements. First, let's call this function 1. Okay, function 1 I am calling this, and if I run this, we will get, so you can see here, let me run this. Why I'm not getting any output? So what is the problem? Something I'm missing here. Yeah, so it's a small issue with the code. That's nothing, but you don't worry about it. So this is actually, see, the first, this statement is getting executed, print hello, and in the next, it's directly not getting to this function. When we call that function, then only it will call. I can call this here also. After function 1 also I can call. Let's see here, I'm calling it here now, and when I run this I will get hello 21st, because I'm calling function 1 first, and then I am calling my function. Okay, so basically you have to understand how the flow of functions will executed. Whenever we call that function, it will be executed. Now let's understand what is the function with arguments. Okay, so let's take, this is a function 1 to add two numbers. Okay, so let's take num1 equal to 10, and num2 equal to 20. Print num1 plus num2. Okay, print num1 plus num2. Okay, now if I run this, I will get the output. So if suppose I want to use this value, okay, if I want to use this value, whatever the output that I am getting in the function my function, print will not allow us, right? Print will not allow us to use that here. So if I use this, if I use this return keyword here, return num1 plus num2, so it will return some value, and it will be stored in this my function. So I mean in the function 1. Okay, here it is equal to whatever the value that we will return. Let's take in this example 10 plus 20, that will be 30 here. Okay, I can use that in other functions also, right? Let's take here, let's print something here. Okay, print, let's take a variable num3 equal to 40. Okay, a return, I can use this function here in this my function. Let's call this like num3 plus function 1. Okay, function 1. Now if I run this, the output will be, let's remove this. Okay, this first line so that it will be easy for us to understand what's happening here. So this is a simple code I have written. So here we are observing why return is better than print. See, in the first I will call only function one. You are not going to get any output. Why? Because it is inside this function one. It's nothing. Let's clear the screen once and we can see here. See, it's nothing. I will run again. See, nothing is being printed onto the console. Now, if I call my function, then the output will be whatever the output that we are 10 plus 20, that is 30, 30 plus 40, 70. That will be the output. Oh, come on. Why this is happening like this? So basically, again, what's happening here? I am not getting any output because again I am returning here. Okay. So this whatever I am returning, that value will be stored in this my function. Okay, in this my function. So I have to print this my function. Print my function. See how, like, even I got confused. So this is what the confusion will be for the beginners. I'm getting 70. So basically the value will be stored in this function and then you can print that. Also you can assign this to any other variables. Okay, result equal to my function. Okay, you will be storing this value here and now you can print result also. If you print results, you will get the value that is present inside this my function. Let's see that. See, 70 I am getting. I hope you understood. So if suppose if I use print, you are not going to, you can't able to use whatever the output that you are going to get from this function one inside this my function or any other function. So we have to understand this advantage of return. So that's the advantage of return keyword. Now every time like passing this values inside the function, whatever the values that you want, you can directly pass them into this my function one. Like basically you are using num1 equal to num 20, num2 is equal to 20. Here let's do one thing. So inside this function one, I will pass some values, that is same 10 comma 20, and these are called as, okay, so we are basically we are going to send these arguments to this define function one. For this function one, for this function we need to assign some parameters. So parameters are where it will receive some values and it will use that into this current function. So for that, let's take equal to num1 comma num2 and let's remove this num1 and num2. Okay, if I do this, basically you're using this num1 and num2 inside this function one. So the values that are assigned by user, like I'm passing values from here 10 comma 20, so it will be passed here and parameters, it will receive those values and they will use in this function. If I run this, the same result that I will get, like that is 70. So what is the error I am getting? So here function one. Okay, so yeah, function one, I'm passing the values and return num1 plus num2 and it will be written here. And yeah, the error is because see here I'm, yeah, so basically it will return some values. Okay, so here I'm supposed to pass the same values here also. Okay, so when I pass a function 10 comma 20, it will get into inside this and it will become num1, that is it will become 30. Okay, and return num3 plus, again you have to pass some values here. Now this is a one thing we have to keep in mind, right? So let's have here 30 comma 40, it will become how much? So it's around, it will be 70 plus 40, that will be 110. See, this is how. So wherever if you are passing some arguments, pause. So basically this is the condition. So you have to be careful. Okay, whenever you are calling some functions, if you are calling them with arguments, you have to pass those arguments and there should be some parameters. Okay, so this is all about return and how arguments and parameters works in functions. I hope you understood. So to summarize this video, see, so in functions we have some two types. If I see in from user point of view, like there are some inbuilt functions which are already inbuilt by in Python, and there are functions, they are created by users, they are called as user defined functions. And there are functions which uses arguments and parameters, they are called as functions with arguments and parameters. And there are some functions which uses return keyword, so they are called as functions with the return keyword. And what is the difference between using the print and return? Because so if you use a return in your function, that function, whatever the output that you are getting, that can be used in other functions, and you can, that usability is far better than using the print statement. Okay, it can be again reused if I am using return keyword. So this is all about this video, and if you have any confusions with this video, you can ask, and you can raise doubts in the comment section. And this is all about today, and we will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to post it in comment section. I will see you in the next video. Till then, tata, bye bye, take care.